So today I'm not testing a particular club, so it's not a club review as such, and that might sound a little bit confusing, but there are 3 or 4 manufacturers that make this particular style of golf club. It's one length golf clubs that we're going to be discussing, and the benefits and also the disadvantages of using a one length golf club. So I've been in the clubhouse and tried to talk to a few people about one length golf clubs, and people aren't that keen to come on the channel, not knowing anything about one length golf clubs, and that was a general consensus. A few people said that Bryson uses them and that's all they knew, but they didn't know anything about them. So to me, the marketing and the way that the one length concept is seen in the golf industry is it's a sort of a phase, and it's not something that's going to last. But I have found somebody who's not camera shy. Golf Pro. Good. Just a quick question. One length golf clubs.
Never. Nobody's ever come in here.
Okay, so
you've
never sold a set, have you?
No, I've never sold a set.
No. So if these golf companies actually thought this was a brilliant idea and a brilliant concept, then surely they would spend a lot more money marketing this particular concept. And for them not to shows me that they haven't fully invested in the one length golf club idea. And if they're not investing in it, then why should we invest in the one length concept? So what does one length actually mean? And it's exactly how it sounds. In this particular set of Cobra F7s, every single club from 5-iron down to gap wedge is the length of a 7-iron. And here I've got the 2 extremes. There's a 5-iron in my right hand, and in my left hand is the gap wedge. And if I measure them up, you'll notice, like I've just said, that they're exactly the same length. And if you look down at both of them, the gap wedge feels particularly long, whereas the 5-iron feels particularly short. Someone like myself who's only ever played variable length irons, it seems and looks so alien. That is the first obstacle that you need to get over. However, there are many benefits to using one length irons. With the shaft being the same length, we should have a consistent stance. Secondly, the ball position will stay in the same place. Also, the golf swing should be very similar. The length of shaft, we should be making a swing which is the same length, the same tempo. I've just hit 3 or 4 wedges, and the first issue I've got is when I play a wedge, I like to vary where I actually grip the golf club. So sometimes I like to go down the shaft just to take a little bit of distance off it, whereas with these particular style of clubs, you almost have to grip it in the same position every single time for that, to keep that levels of consistency where we want it to benefit from these clubs. Now I'm going to hit the 5-iron, so we're going from one extreme to the other. Does give me quite a bit of confidence, considering that I'm not so far away from the club face as I would be if I was hitting a traditional 5-iron. However, it does feel like I'm hitting junior golf clubs. The strike was decent, it was right out of the middle of the golf club, and the flight was good, maybe a little bit lower than what I'd expect. Set another 5-iron down there. Should leave me like a gap wedge into the green, which would be quite good to test that one as well. Wasn't quite out of the middle of the golf club, but still decent distance, decent flight on it. Does seem to give me a bit of confidence being such a short shaft with a long iron. So far, with the sort of dozen or so shots I've hit in total, longer irons, the flight is slightly lower, more penetrating. I really feel confident hitting such a short shaft. I feel like I'm going to hit the middle of the golf club, and that surely can help those people that do struggle hitting longer irons. 107 yards to the middle of the green. I'm going to hit a couple of gap wedges. Seems really, really strange looking down at a golf club with so much loft and having such a long shaft. You almost feel like you need to be sort of 6'4" to be able to use this. This definitely gives me less confidence, which is not great. I just want to grip down it, which I obviously know you shouldn't do. Not a very good strike, and I've leaked it out right. Let's hit another one. See if we can get a good strike on this one. Again, not the best strike. It's landed past the pin, so it's probably gone sort of 5 or so yards further than my own specialist wedge. I'm not going to lie, I'm struggling hitting the more lofted clubs, mainly for actual look of the golf club. It looks so different. Whether I could get over that, I'm not 100% sure. It's something that if you're using one length clubs, you'd have to make some adjustment or allowance for the fact those clubs feel so long. I don't feel confident stood over them. Probably also my centerness of strike. I've hit again half a dozen wedges and gap wedges. Haven't really middled many of them. The consistency of strike with those wedges is not as accurate as I would want. So you're probably aware of one of the best golfers in the world who uses this concept of clubs, and that is Bryson DeChambeau. And I will do a little bit more research to find out if there's any other players in the top sort of 100 in the world who are using this concept of iron. But as far as I'm aware, it's only Bryson DeChambeau at the moment. If we look at his stats, he's not renowned for being that particularly good inside 100 yards, and he is way down the list in accuracy, proximity to the pin, and wedge play is probably not one of his strengths. Is that because of this concept of having the one length clubs? Not 100% sure, but I don't think it can help. I know what you're wondering. People have asked me when I've discussed one length clubs in the past, won't they all go the same distance, as the length of the club does affect distance and flight. I know we've got the factor of loft as well, and loft will also dictate. Shut up. So Arccos, which is built into the grips of the Cobra irons, and you can also get the little sensors which fit into the end of your grips, are saying that when golfers switched from variable length into one length irons, they were hitting 40% more greens. 40% is absolutely massive. Imagine what hitting 40% more greens would do to your scoring. So how are we going to get a nice gap between each particular clubs? Because surely the length of club is going to dictate the distance. So what they do is they add more weight to the more lofty clubs, making every single club the same swing weight. No, they don't. So what they do is they add weight to the club head to compensate for that lack of length, which should then mean that the variations in distance between each clubs remains the same as if you were using a traditional variable length set of irons. I know in the past that people that have bought this concept of club have said that the irons all go more or less the same distance, and they've noticed that the distance or gapping between each club is very, very similar. So for me, you do need to swing these clubs, or do need to have a quick swing speed. It's got 157 yards. Let's hit the 8 iron. So the 8 iron is a 7 iron length of shaft, so it's only a fraction longer than what you'd expect from a normal 8 iron, and it looks fine down at the ball as you'd expect. Decent flight again, nice height. Come up a fraction short. So let's hit the 7 iron and see how much distance is between the two clubs. Should be 7 to 10 yards, all dependent on strike. That is definitely further than the 8 iron. Let's walk up and have a little look and see the distance between the two shots, both struck in the middle of the club. I'm surprised too. I'm just walking up to the green, and the 8 iron is here and the 7 iron is here, so we probably have got between sort of 7 and 10 yards in distance between the two clubs, which is great for gapping. We even had a little bit of spin. So why hasn't this concept really taken off, and why do we not see more top professionals or even club golfers using the one length option? And I think it's because us golfers don't like change. So anyone who's a traditionalist will just not get it, they won't like it, they won't find it visually pleasing. And a lot of the time we make purchases and decisions on our golf equipment on how it visually looks and how it appears. With it being so different, particularly like in the extreme from the 5 iron or into the gap wedge, then it's going to take a lot of convincing of me and other people that this is the future of golf. I also believe that you would need to game these clubs for a significant period of time before being completely comfortable with them. It's losing one of those clubs. And are golfers willing to wait 6 months to a year to finally feel comfortable with a set of irons? And I personally don't think they are. So if I'm new to the game and starting up, would I recommend using one length irons? I would for consistency. If you're looking to take out variables, which is length and changing ball position and swing, etc., for each particular club, then the one length concept is perfect for eliminating a number of variables in the golf swing and setup. But I still wouldn't necessarily recommend one length clubs, particularly if you're a beginner, you're developing a swing and you're not producing swing speeds that are that quick. I don't feel like you'll benefit from using one length golf clubs. So the 17th at Churston is 141 yard, par 3, and the pin today is middle of the green, so it's playing its full distance over the bunker. And I'm going to hit 2 shots at this green, and let's see how close we can get to the pin. So if I was playing this hole with my own clubs, was into a slight breeze, I'd be hitting 8 iron to try and hit it past the pin to bring it back towards the pin. So I'm going to hit 8 iron first of all, and then see how close we can hit it. And then if we need to change club, we'll change club. So just left of the stick. Okay, it's landed back of the green, stayed there. Okay, so that's probably gone 155. I'm going to hit 9 iron this time. So more loft, same length of shaft. Okay, better strike. Good flight on it as well. A little bit of spin back towards the pin. Take both those shots though if I was playing a medal. No, I said we wouldn't talk about the particular make of golf clubs, and it'd be the style of golf clubs that we'd really sort of talk about. However, another issue for me and low handicap golfers professionals is that Cobra tend to make the one length golf clubs in the sort of mid handicap style heads. They don't put it in their more traditional looking bladed iron, and there's not the option actually to go one length, mainly because it's probably difficult to get the weight right in the head, will change the way it looks, whereas it's easy to do it in more of a bigger cast head. I guess as well there's not the demand for lots of different style heads with that particular one length shaft, and it makes sense if you're not selling many clubs, then just give one head option. But I would like to see these one length shafts in maybe their better looking, more traditional bladed head. 9 iron closest to me, 8 iron furthest away. Again, probably 7 to 10 yards difference between the clubs, which is good gapping. Ooh. So for me, the gapping between the clubs is quite consistent, which is great. I was a little bit concerned that there wouldn't be much difference between each particular club. It would be sort of maybe even half of what would be recommended, maybe 5 yards between each club. But it seems to be 10 to 12 yards, which is what is recommended. So that's positive in that aspect. And this is the area I'm struggling with, hitting the more lofted club. I can already see that my accuracy is not as good with these as it would be with my own specialist wedges. And so here is my idea. For me personally, to game these clubs, 7 iron downwards, 8, 9, pitching wedge, sand wedge, etc. They would be variable length, and from 7 iron upwards, so 6, 5, 4, which is what I currently carry, they would be one length golf clubs. No manufacturer does that particular makeup of set, and for me to actually game them, as I've just said, I would need to buy 2 sets of clubs. That is just not practical. And this is what I'm talking about, 100 yards in gap wedge, and I've missed both shots to the green, to the right hand side, one in the bunker and one in the rough. I'm a decent wedge player, full wedge player. I can't chip and pitch. For me, the benefits of the long irons and them being particularly easy to hit is unfortunately counteracted against the fact the shorter irons I'm less accurate with, which would then make me not want to game these particular style of clubs. But that's just my personal opinion. So how many of you at home actually use one length clubs currently, and how many of you have actually tried one length golf clubs? So are one length golf clubs the future of golf? And in my opinion, not in the current state that they're in, and they do need a little bit of tweaking. The concept is good. It hasn't, in my opinion, developed enough for more golfers to game this style of golf club. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're liking these videos. All comments below are answered and responded to, and we'll see you very soon. I do like these long irons. Definitely put these in the bag. Interesting.